Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our call this evening. And we've really put this in place, and it's a bit of a cross-team one as well, because the world is opening up, first of all, and I'm really, really excited about where the company is going and the different avenues that we can go down soon in growing our business, which is fantastic. We're going to have the 20k giveaway. We'll be able to talk to people. We'll be having our fairs hopefully soon. The world is opening up, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm very, very super excited. But one avenue that has woken up and opened up to us down south of Scotland, basically. So unfortunately, you Scottish lot can't do this yet, but it's good to get yourselves up to date and ready for when Scotland opens up as well. So I've looked at the network, and we've got some fantastic neighbourhood letterers, and I'm very fortunate to have two of them as good friends as well. So I tapped them up and said, come along, and could you share with us your knowledge or with how fantastically you're doing. So first of all, I'll introduce both of you, and I will be asking both questions if that's okay. And if anybody else has got questions, do put it in the chat. So we've got Nikki Triggs here, who's a senior team leader within the company. She has 360 personal customers. Now, bear this one. She has also qualified for Orlando, Peru, India, Budapest, the Maldives, and Paris. Okay, that's all from Neighbourhood Letters. Not bad going, is it? And we also have Alan Maxwell, who's a senior team leader. Oh, Nikki, are you a mini owner as well? You can unmute yourself, Nikki.
Yeah,
you are
mini owner. Well,
owner. So we've got Alan as a mini owner as well, and he's had 4 mini breaks, and he's a 100+ club. So neighbourhood letters certainly do work. So I'm going to go right to basics now. Please, if you're old school, bear with us, because some people are on this call that actually have joined and never heard of neighbourhood letters till about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so we're going to go right from scratch. So I'll ask Nikki first. When you're going out to do your neighbourhood letters, being a girl, what are you wearing?
Well, today, just for an example, I had my gym leggings on, I had my trainers on, and my raincoat on. No branded stuff.
Nothing branded at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Alan, what are you wearing when you go out to deliver your letters?
Very similar to Nikki. I don't wear branded stuff because I feel the minute you have a badge or some emblem on you, immediately they close up, because they just equate that with someone taking money from them in some shape or form. So I don't wear anything branded. Okay, brilliant. That's the first question out the way. Okay, so nothing branded. Obviously, if you do want to wear something branded, that would be great, but I wouldn't go from head to foot in purple. Is my only piece of advice, but I have seen it happen, but no, not to do. Okay, so Alan, when you're getting yourself ready, what do you actually take? So we'll talk about the letters that you deliver in a minute, but when you're going to go out and follow up, what do you have with you on your follow-ups? Okay, I take a clipboard. I know some people think, well, that looks very salesy with a clipboard, but to me, it's more important that I capture records of what's happening. So I have a clipboard. I have that WHAM or Win a Mini laminate thing, which I tend to only produce if someone's really pressing me for detail. I don't bring it out automatically. And I'll also have my diary. Now I'm also wearing latex blue gloves and a visor, which makes me look somewhat comical. But there you go. Sometimes I can see my reflection in the door if there's glass in there. I look like some aging hippie that's taken up welding.
Okay, but you wear gloves as well. So you wear the blue.
Yeah, I want to show that I'm kind of mindful of the time. So I do wear blue latex gloves and the visor for now, anyway.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought about the gloves. Nikki, what about you? What do you take with you?
Again, like Alan, I take the clipboard. On the clipboard, I'll have I've printed off diary sheets, so I don't actually physically take a diary. I use pencil as well. I don't know if Alan uses pencil as well, because if it does rain, pen just runs all over your paperwork. And tracker sheets as well, so that you can track the road and the house numbers. And obviously advisor as well.
Advisor. And do you wear the blue gloves? Are you a blue?
I haven't worn the blue gloves, no. But I do have hand gel in my bag. So I have a rucksack on my back, and that's got the hand gel in it. So I can, if I need to, I can give my hands a little once over with the gel.
Right. Okay, so we talked to you. So you both say that you've got the tracker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we'll do is we'll do a little bit conversational now as to how you use the tracker and to plan your route. So I'm guessing, now I have got this ready because I was going to follow up on my neighbourhood letters this afternoon, but I didn't because I'm good at that. But can you see this, the tracker here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Is that the tracker that both of you use?
Yeah,
I don't use that. Nikki uses it. I don't use it.
I use it. Very similar to that, yeah. Very
similar, but this you can get off the neighbourhood letter mastermind group, can't you? The Facebook mastermind group.
Yeah, they are. It is on there.
Yeah. Okay. So, Alan, if you want to tell us what you use to how you plan your route. So, tell us a little bit about how where you pick what houses, what you put do you put your address on the letter? What do you?
There's a few questions there. I put my address without the house number. Just because that's a habit. A lot of things become habit, and they should, and that's one habit for me, so I do that. All I take with me is an A4 sheet. I don't know why I'm showing you that. You know what an A4 sheet looks like, but anyway, that was one. And as I'm going round, I've decided which area I'm doing, and I lean towards homeowner houses, of course, because we can as letter droppers. That's one of the whole benefits of doing it. And as I'm posting them in, I'm recording which letter's going in and what date it's going in. And then I always put 25 on one page. Again, it's a habit. You can form habits. It's really good. Very hard to break habits. So I put 25 on one side. And of course, when I'm going back round there, that's the sheet I've got. But what I used to do, which I don't do anymore, is I'd used to record the word no. Every time I heard a no on the door, I'd write no next to the house number. But I realized that wasn't a good idea, especially now when most people are in. You get more no's than ever before. So if you just see no written all over the sheet and you're trying to interest them in something, all they can say is no. They're probably going to say the same thing. So I don't do that anymore. And I don't even put not in, because that contains the word no. I've got a system of numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is a way of categorizing houses. And actually all I do is go out and categorize houses, so there's no pressure on me.
Right, so I'm gonna stop you right there. You've just said you use a number system to categorize your houses, so I know everyone immediately has gone, what's the number system?
I thought they might be thinking that. Some might know, because I have promoted it before, but I just put 1, 2, 3, or 4 rather than no. 1 means either they're not in, or a teenager answers the door. It's a house I've got to go and do again, basically. So it's unresolved. There's fewer of them now because more people are in. That's what 1 means. 2 means it's a no, and a no in a way which means I'm not going to go back there. That just write 2, and I know that I've resolved that one. The work is done. 3 means I am going to go back to them because we had some rapport at the door and I made a connection with them. It just wasn't their time to see it. 4 is an appointment. And, that's how I fill out the sheet every time. So in fact, every house is a result, because I'm always getting 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it feels like I'm getting a result every time.
Excellent. So when you say, how do you feel? So I just like to get a little bit into your mindset here. I'm the worst. So I've delivered my 25 letters, as half the network now knows. I've got 25 letters. No, actually 20 have gone out. I chose 5 houses not to go to. So there's 20 letters through doors. What do you do? You're a senior team leader. You're very successful. You've got company mini. Do you always, you've just come back in from doing neighbourhood letters. We've had like a year and a bit off from doing them. Did you find it easy? I mean, I can't get out there yet.
Okay, let me be honest with you. It felt quite difficult starting it again. It did. Okay, and actually knocking doors is nerve-wracking. If anyone who thinks it isn't, probably hasn't done it. And it is. And even Nikki and I have found that going back into it. But it pays off. And doing something nerve-wracking makes you feel good, because you feel like you're doing your business and you're doing stuff that other people wouldn't do. And generally speaking, if you're doing stuff that you think others wouldn't do, you're probably on track. Plus the fact, when I go and knock on doors, what's in my head is, when the door opens, is, does that person qualify for my time?
Oh.
That's in my head as the door opens. So I'm not there waiting to be rejected. I'm the rejecter. I'm not the rejectee. When the door opens, even sometimes people in a grumpy voice say, you'll come back in 6 months. I decide whether I'm going to do that. And I might not, because that makes me feel powerful and in control. And it works for me. It just makes me go out and do it, because I'm not experiencing rejection.
I like that. Does that, so you're coming from a higher place, aren't you? Good. I like that.
Because they've got no idea what is being put in front of them. This is something that could change their life, and they're completely ignorant of that fact. So we've got all the knowledge, they've got no knowledge. So their opinion is less important than ours. Okay, so we're in control. When you're doing neighbour letters, you've got to think of yourself in control. And I think I shared this phrase with you once: think like a predator or you'll feel like prey.
Oh, think of a predator or you'll feel like prey. I love it, Alan. I love it. You always come out with these great one-liners. So, Nikki, I know, in fact, you are my major push that's going to get me out the door, because I know that before COVID, you were absolutely going mad with neighbour letters. And I mean, how many double gold daffies were you signing up in a month before?
It averaged around about 8 to 10 on average. There was some, I mean, last March I was heading for another really good month, and I was on 11, and we got stopped about the 15th of March. So, and I had another 8 appointments in my diary that I couldn't go and do, and they weren't.
We weren't doing remotes then, were we?
No, well, we weren't doing remotes, and to be honest, most of those were not up for remotes anyway. They would have, you know, they were older, so they wanted the face-to-face. So I have got them to go back to, actually, which I will go and knock back on their doors now we're allowed, and maybe schedule them in for after the 29th.
So Nikki is what I've worked out, because I want a new kitchen, so I'll put it out there. So I've worked out, if I do what Nikki does, I'll get my new kitchen. What was that? It's not bad, is it? So but what is your mindset? I mean, that's a machine. So, you know, coming back out, the world has opened up. Did you sort of like, were you running out of the starter pens ready to go?
No, definitely wasn't. You know, it was really hard to get myself to go back out there, and I haven't done as many as I would have liked to. Not because I had wanted to go out, but I've took myself out of it a couple of times this week. Oh, it's drizzling, you know, it's a bit rainy today. I'll leave it. And then today, I did plan to go, and it was pouring with rain, and I thought, I've got to go. And it did stop raining, and I did get back out today. And today, I feel like I can get rid of the learner badges again, and I felt quite good today. Whereas the 3 times I've been out previous to today, I have, you know, hasn't felt great at all. Where today, it's becoming more comfortable, if you like.
Good. So that's your 4th lot out then, and now you're beginning to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, more comfortable, and getting used to all the no's, because, you know, there are loads. There are loads of no's.
Loads of no's.
Yeah.
It's like a crash course in getting rid of the fear of the word no, because you hear it so often. After a while, you just don't notice anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe just as I'm you know, listening to this, maybe a good book to read or listen to would be Go for No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you did there. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So you can, yeah, so you can collect the nose as well, but don't
Sure.
put, so a number no is a number 2 though, isn't it? So that's a number 2. I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
well, I haven't.
Sometimes a steaming number 2, but yes, always a number 2 if it's a no.
Well, I had a steaming number 2. Well, I knocked on a door in the week, and the husband was so lovely. He was really nice. He said, "Oh, we've been talking about, we need to start looking at this. Shelley's not here. She's at work at the moment. Come back and knock. Shelley's here at the weekend." So they were the first door I knocked on Sunday. My God, it was like a Rottweiler answering the door. So she can be a steaming number 2. They can look elsewhere. I'm not interested.
so but you carried on though. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You carried on.
I did. Yeah.
Even after a horrible steaming number 2. I like to call them number 2s. I like that. That's a child in me, isn't it? I can tell. So you've got your tracer, you've got your clipboard, you've got your script, you've got a diary, whether it's a printout of your week or a hard copy diary. You're smart, you're clean. How do you plan where you're actually going? Now, Alan, you touched on it saying, you can choose where you go. How are you doing that?
Right, how I've been doing it since lockdown. I haven't done that many in the last week, but I've kind of just, tried an area that's near me, mainly laziness because I don't need to drive there. But now when I've got kind of my head of steam, which I'm close to getting, there's a particular area I'm going to go to. What I recommend though is you attack a whole big area that's got about 1,000 houses. Don't be thinking every time, where shall I go now? Where shall I go now? Because then you won't go at all. Have a huge area that you're going to cover and systematically work yourself around it, going into the cul-de-sacs, out again, around, just doing every one, then crossing the road, coming back. And then when you do that, you'll be looking for ways you can get back and continue that project. Like you want to get back and do the next batch because you know where they all are. You can picture them and you haven't been there a couple of days, you've got to do more. That's much better than thinking, where am I going to go next? Because trust me, if you're doing that, you will stop doing it at all. So carve out a big area that you're going to hit systematically and execute that.
Brilliant. And Nikki, how do you plan your route?
Yeah, exactly as Alan said. So I started when I very first started on one main road, and I just went the whole way along it, down all the turnings, back up the other side of each turning, all the way along this main road, crossed over, and then did the same all the way along. And there is still another whole side of the town that I haven't even touched yet. So, but I've been round, nearer to me twice. I've been round there the whole lot.
So I'm interested. So I was on a call yesterday, and I heard the person say, do mass numbers, which is pretty much what both of you are saying, Alan and Nikki, that you're saying pick an area, lots of houses, and do the numbers rather than picking,
Yeah, because what you're basing that decision on, you're picking out a blind, who knows, just do numbers. Yeah, big numbers. Okay, so successful affluent areas are great, but they've got usually big driveways, Fiona, and if you're going to do that, you're going to be doing a lot more miles for fewer houses. But it depends, if you've got the time to do them, do them. But to start with, I would pick up sort of mainly places where there's lots of houses fairly together-ish, would you say? Am I right in saying?
Yeah. The long driveways and the ones with the big hills or steps up to the door, they can be hard work, but there still could be customers and partners in there, so don't dismiss them.
I suppose it depends on how much time you've got, doesn't it? Whether if you've only got like half an hour, you wouldn't be able to do so many houses, but if there's all fairly together, you could do more, can't you?
Yeah.
It's funny when you go up a long drive and it says no cold callers. Yourself. Yeah. It takes 2 minutes to get to the front door.
So I know this question will come up, so we'll nip that one in the bud. If they've got no cold calling on their outside their house, or no junk mail, or blah 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 blah, do you still drop?
I
personally
do.
No, I don't.
I do, but I don't knock.
So you will drop the letter, but you won't knock back?
I don't knock back, no.
Alan doesn't even drop the letter.
I don't, because it makes me feel I'm rejecting them, which again makes me feel strong. It makes me feel that they've been disqualified from the process.
I love the mindset here. Jeanette says, do you bother with flats? It says flats.
I've got an answer for that, Nikki.
I mean, we've got a couple of blocks of flats around here, and I've done 2 lots. And I did get an appointment in one of the blocks of flats, but they tend not to be able to, because it's on an intercom, although a lot of houses have got these Ring doorbells now, so it's similar. So I wouldn't not do them, no.
I think with my point of view, as Nikki said, if you can't get the marketing piece into their actual front door, I think you're dead in the water. That coupled with having to do the follow-up with an intercom, I think you got hardly any chance at all. And when you think about how much there is out there that of potential, I can't justify the time going after flats. Yeah, I got customers from flats that came from WAMs or referrals, but NL drops, no, I personally, I don't do it.
Okay, interesting. Good kinds of thought. So I know everyone's going to be asking this question. What letter, now there's only 2 at the moment, I believe still, that you can choose from. Is that correct?
Yeah.
On the portal?
Yeah, the helping hand one and the other
Partner.
one.
Yeah, the partner one, isn't it?
The recruiting one, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So is there any choice on which letter you do? Have you got a preference?
No, I using the partner one purely because whatever, you know, you're going to get an appointment. If you're going to get an appointment, you're going to show them both anyway. So that's my view on it anyway.
Excellent. So there's a top tip from someone that's 360 personal customers. They show the presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people try to bypass the presentation, so they show the presentation because it shows both, isn't it? The customer and
absolutely. Yeah.
So brilliant stuff. Okay. Now I've got another question here. I'll ask Nikki this one first. I feel like this is like a quiz now. Do you use envelopes?
I have done in the past, but since we were the last lockdown when we were unlocked and we started posting, I didn't use any, and I haven't used any since, only because it takes up more time and costing. So I've just gone with letters this time without envelopes.
Okay. Alan?
Same answer. I actually once did about 400 with envelopes, 400 without. I couldn't see any difference at all. So I thought for the time and the cost, it just doesn't justify putting them in envelopes. So now I never do.
Okay, cool. So Tracy said there's a new letter that includes the 20k draw. Do you offer those? You've got to print the 20k draw bit on the back of the other one side, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, because I can't be. I'm not very good at stuff like that.
No, but I'm not very good. I'm not very good with
that. Alan, what about you?
No, I can't be bothered with that one.
No.
I quite like
anything that takes more time. No.
Yeah, I like to, when I sign somebody up anyway, especially if it's a customer, I like to throw in once they've signed, I go, oh, by the way, you know, back in the day it was the Winner Mini, now it will be 20k. Do you mind if I enter you into a free draw for £20,000 just as a thank you for being my customer? So if they haven't come in that avenue, I definitely want to put them in the draw if they've signed up. So you enter them into the draw anyway, Tracy.
Yeah, I sometimes offer them to enter them in the draw. Just if they have the appointment, they'll go in the draw whether they sign up or not.
Oh, that's a nice tactic as well. I like that. Okay, so right, they've opened the door. So you've got out, you've got your stuff, you're wearing the right clothes, you've got your clipboard organised, you've got everything with you, you've knocked on the door. Now, when I've done neighbour lists before, I
run away.
They're out, but they're not. I mean, there's obviously a lot more in. You both said you're getting more no's. So, Nikki, what's the first thing you do when that door opens?
Well, I'll say hello, sorry to trouble you, and I'll get that in before they even speak. And I then launch into the script, which is, I'm Nikki from the Glen. I popped this letter through your door the other day or last week or whenever it was. Have you seen it? And then wait for the answer. And most times they'll say no, and they sort of look on the floor sometimes as well, say no, posted it the other day. And then if they say they remembered it, then I'll then go on to say, well, I've been helping lots of our neighbours locally to save money on their household bills. Would saving money benefit you? And wait for them to come back and say yes, no. or what's it all about? And then just say, well, I'm booking short appointment slots today to show you the savings when would be good for you, daytime, evening or weekend. Telephone appointment slots at the moment, obviously.
So you tell them it's going to be a telephone slot, do you? Telephone.
Yeah.
And excellent. So I like that. So the first thing you do is say hello, big smile, and hello. Right. Yeah. And do you try to speak first?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Top tip there. Alan, what do you say as soon as that door is opened? What do you say?
You know, I've in recent times, I want to say recent, I mean a year ago, right back there, I was doing pretty much that script. Really, nothing different from that, because if it's going to end up an appointment, it might evolve into a bit of conversation which is unique, you know, rapport building conversation. So yeah, that works fine. I don't convert like Nikki converts, and no one gets as much success with that script as Nikki. So I just want to put that out there. It's quite phenomenal what she does with it. But, you know, it works for me. It got me qualified for stuff. I never used to qualify for anything. So I use that script as a kind of template. But, you know, if it's someone who's maybe a blue or yellow personality, which is my own colors, I tend to riff a bit more with them, and we'll have a chat, and I can build good rapport with them. And a guy today and his wife were on a Zoom call with me. I knocked on his door on 31st of March, 2019, and I've kept in touch with him. And we get on really well just through phone calls, keeping in touch. And now I've shown them both, and they could well join the business. But if it's a red-green person, which I struggle more with, if at the end of that script that Nikki said, I'm not getting any traction, it might not go anywhere. Right. Yeah, so for me, there's people that are gettable that others might not get, and you know, vice versa as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So Nikki, out of interest, your conversion, so Alan's just said that you have great success with that script. If you can get that script out and before they've said no or whatever, and they've said yes and they've let you listen, what is your conversion rate if you've been able to say that to actually getting them into an appointment?
So I would say I would get an appointment. Not originally, well, when I was doing it and regular, you know, really regular before lockdown, I would say I would get at least one appointment, at least one every 25 knocks, at least one appointment. And then, yeah, when getting in front of people, I would say it was 3 out of 4 would sign up.
So it's good stats there. That's good.
Actually, my stats for getting the appointment are very similar. My stats for converting them are not as good as that. So I have to do a lot more knocks to get the same results as Nikki. But I'd say to anyone, you can always just do more work if you want more results. Don't worry too much about the conversion rate, because when you know, when the companies send you congratulations, you signed up a customer, they don't sort of add, well, how many did it take to find that one? They don't put that. They don't really care, and you shouldn't. Just do whatever work it takes to get you what you want. And for some, it'll be more than others, and that's just the way it is.
Isn't it Jim Rohn? I can't remember the stats he says, but there was like a competition, and he says, I'm going to beat you. And the guy says, no, I'm going to beat you. I sign up 1 in every 100. He said, I'm still going to beat you. I'll just do 200. You know? And it's just do more, isn't it? Just Jim Rohn says it far better than I do. I have no Jim Rohn, but definitely go and listen to him. But it's true. So just do the numbers. Excellent. So the scripts are on the Neighbourhood Letter Mastermind group. There's loads.
Actually, today I put it in the file section of that group. Yeah. So, Diana Wright was pleading with me, please put it in the files. People keep asking. If you go to that group, it's in the file section. I just put it on there today. It's freshly on there.
So what I've just another book that springs to mind. So at the moment we've got Go for No. These will all help you on your neighbourhood letter journey, myself included. Yeah. And another book for, especially if you are very new into the business and you'll hear us talking about greens, blues, yellows, reds.
Read that book if you're going to do NLs. Absolutely.
Yes. It's a colour personalities. I would say it's a blonde guide to work out how people's personalities. It's not in depth, it's not scientific, but as you read a very simple book, It's by Big Al Strider, and it's called, I think it's just called Colour Personalities, actually.
I think
Isn't
it's the four
four.
personality colours of MLM, something like that.
I've got it.
Knowledge is king. You'll be able to work out which one it is because it's got 4 colours on the cover.
4 colours, yeah. Funny enough, it's got the 4 colours, but it's a brilliant book to do for when you need to judge someone's personality very quickly. And it's
That's well done.
It's
bravo, Tracy. Bravo.
There
you go.
So yeah, it's good to have the chat, isn't it? So and also for life anyway, the colour personalities is good for life. So you've got you're doing mass numbers, you're going for no, you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4. You're telling them it's a remote appointment and they're happy with that, is that right? They're all okay? Yeah, they're okay with that. Reference mask. If we're standing 2 meters from the door, are we allowed to knock without a mask on? I'll tell you now, I personally would be wearing a shield, a face shield, or a mask, because if there are people that are shielding and have shielded for a year and been very careful, when you knock on their door and you haven't got a mask on, you're not going to get good rapport. It's as simple as that.
You're not going to alienate anyone by having a mask, but you might by not. So it's just common sense.
At the moment. Just be aware that people have got different challenges going on. Do you, let's say you get your remote appointment now and you've got it in your diary, do you at that point ask for any extra information like their landline number or annual usage for their energy? Do you ask that on the door?
No, I don't.
I don't ask for that stuff, but I'll say, just let me take a best contact number just in case I can't get to you or something comes up or I can't make the call as it is now. So I'll ask what's your best number and hold the pencil there so that they go, oh, and then you know that they're, unless they give you a wrong number, of course, that they are interested and they want you to call them.
So you'll just literally make the appointment. You don't ask for any information while you're on the door.
What I found, Christine, anything that sounds like a hassle, people won't bother.
Right. Okay. So
and you get a lot of no-shows on calls as it is. Anything that sounds like extra work just feels like it's going to create more of them.
Okay, so heads up again, you'll still get lots. So even if you've knocked the door, posted the letters, knocked the doors, got the appointment, gone through the nose, they still might not even show up.
There's even more pain waiting for you. Exactly. You phone up and they're not there.
Okay.
Buy into your beer.
Okay, yeah, call into your beer. So landline or mobile, I'd say what is the best number to call you back on? I try and get the mobiles because sometimes people don't have handsets on the landline. But obviously it depends on their age as well, I suppose.
It's best to get the mobile because you can text.
Yes, like that. Good idea, Ellen. So, Nikki, when is a good time to drop letters and when is a good day and time to follow up?
Any time after 9, before 8 o'clock.
So after 9 in the morning, is that right? Is that the law? I think it is, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was 8 in the morning or 9. So 9 in the morning and 8 o'clock at night. And you're telling me any time. So I could knock on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no law. That's
great. So
really?
I don't think I'd do 9 a.m. on a Sunday, I must admit.
No, I wouldn't knock it.
Even Saturday, I don't go out till 10:30 usually.
Okay, that's fascinating. Morex just put her stats up in the chat actually. In July, I delivered 841 letters, followed up 1,153, got 30. You followed up more than you delivered.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah, got 38 appointments and switched 10, so works out 115 knocks per 6 customers. So it's worth what we can learn from that is do your ratios. Now I always remember a conversation I had with Nikki, and both Nikki and Alan have had me ringing up going, oh, I can't do these. And just so you know, I'm a senior group leader in the company, over 300 personal customers, and I've built my business by not doing neighbourhood letters. So if you can't do them, don't worry, there are avenues where you can go down. Yeah. But I do feel that you've got to give them a go. You have to give them a go. And so when I rang Nikki once and said, how many do you think I need to do before I know my stats? And she said 1,000. I don't know whether she didn't like me that day. But you said it's about 1,000 before you started to get to know your stats. Is that right, Nikki?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to do a bunch. But also I think some people are too focused on ratios, particularly other people's ratios.
Yeah.
And you know, questions like, not having a go at anyone, but questions like, you know, what's the best day? What's the best thing to wear? Often these questions are coming from a place of how can I make as much money as possible without hearing the word no? Forget it. That's a road that goes nowhere. In fact, you want to hear the word no as often as possible until you don't care anymore. That's the secret of it, not trying to avoid it, because you just don't get anywhere by doing that.
I would say that you're looking for excuses not to go, because that would be me going, oh, I haven't got my purple jumper ready, or it's not clean, I can't go. So no excuses. Okay, so you've got your letter, you've posted, you've got your appointment in. How did do you buddy up with people, you guys? I mean, Nikki, you know, you went out there and you were like a machine. Your name appeared at the top of customer gathering sort of charts and things like that. Did you have someone that helped you along the way?
No, and you know, and I've had lots of people say, oh, I want to come and shadow you. Can I come and shadow you? But to be honest, I prefer just going on my own. You know, if two people are knocking at a door, I think that feels it's like, you know, Scottish Power go round in pairs and all the other energy providers. So, you know, and they're all in their uniforms and stuff. So I think two people going to the door is, if you're going to buddy up with someone, go on separate side of the road. If you
I agree.
Go out with someone, but don't go to the door together.
No, funnily enough, I've had people say, well, can I come and shadow you? And I've said yes, you know, just yeah, you can. No one ever takes me up on it, ever. They always quiche out and never turn up. So I just find that funny. But now if anyone asked me, I'd say no.
Okay, I agree. And I also agree that the only stats and ratios that are important are your own. Just so you can measure what you're doing and you've got sort of, you know, a rule of thumb for yourself.
That's what they're for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I cannot compare myself to either of you two when it comes to neighbourhood letters. And when I get good at them, I will never compare myself to you to neighbourhood letters, purely because it is your own race, you know, it's your own business. So do you need to wear, do either of you wear ID badges when you do your neighbour letters?
No, never been asked for one in my life.
No.
I've got one in my wallet, never been asked to show it.
Okay, so you've got it on you if need be.
Yeah, if need be.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool enough. And you let's say all those no's, those hundreds of no's, and you've got them on your tracker sheet. How long do you leave it before you go back to those no's, Alan?
Interesting. When you say those no's, if they've given me an unequivocal no, I ain't going back.
What was it, the number ones? The
number ones, yeah. I'd probably leave it at least 3 months, probably between 3 and 6. And there's no rule that, it's just a habit. And I'd encourage you, a lot of what we're saying is just our personal preference, and it's the habit we've fallen into. And I just say, look for doing things enough to form a habit, and the habits are hard to break, good as well as bad. So that's my habit, between 3 and 6 months.
Okay, 3 and 6 months is good. But what about you, Nikki? How
well, I think to do the area that I did, it took about 2 years to get around the whole lot. So then I just started again at the same spot where I originally started and just worked my way back round. I'm not quite all the way back round again yet, but it took 2 years. So.
And did anybody say to you they remembered the last letter?
Some did. In fact, there was an old lady, because I did knock a road that I posted out to before we got locked down last on Sunday, and there was an older lady, and I knocked on her. She went, "You knocked before, didn't you?" And she was, because she first, when I knocked, I remember she said no, not interested, and she went, "Yeah, you knocked before." She went, "Oh, I'm a bit sceptical." And I said, "Yeah, I can see you're sceptical." And then I just said, "Oh, you know Rosie down the road? She's a customer. Have a chat with Rosie." And she said, "Well, I am interested, but I'm just a bit, I'm a bit worried." And I said, "Look, I'll tell you what, I'll come back to you when we're allowed to do face to face, because I think you'll like what I've got to show you. So, we'll see what happens there." But
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's good then. So if you are doing your local area, or if you know you've got a customer in a road, it's always good to go around that person so you can say, well, your number 11 is a customer of ours or something.
Yeah, and everybody knows Rosie Wiggins. I think everybody knows her. She's a proper nosy neighbour.
I hope no one on this call knows who she is.
So,
fictitious name. Brilliant.
The,
So
actually,
if you can
the
get somebody like
Mini
that,
is really good to have around the area as well. Sorry, I was going to say parking the Mini all over the area all the time is good as well. People recognise the car sometimes, you know.
yeah,
brilliant. So if you're aspiring to have a Mini, that's another good reason to have one then.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good for that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
definitely.
Nikki.
No, that's fine. And also on our local Rayleigh page, I've had somebody, 4 people tag me tonight because somebody said, I'm moving to the area, you know, what's the best, what broadband providers everyone use? And 4 people have tagged me, and she's messaged me, wants to chat tomorrow. So that's another good thing to, yeah, when people know that you've helped lots in the area, and they'll all be neighbour letters.
Well, they're neighbours, aren't they? So, which is brilliant. So if you've got local Facebook groups, just try and always make sure, you know, where this is where brand comes, it's too important. Make sure that you're always a positive on your Facebook and things like that, and you're not being keep any political views off your Facebook and things like that. Try and stay as neutral, things like that as possible. So somebody's put here, do you mention that you'll be contacting them on Zoom? Well, I don't do Zoom. I just link the computer screens together. But do you say that, can you get in front of a PC, or do you ring them and then ask them to get in front of the PC?
I would ring them and then say, yeah, can you get in? I haven't had any appointments yet from Neighbour Letters doing it this way, so we'll find out. Yeah, I've got 2 next week. So
what's your plan of action for the 2 next week then? What's your...
So I will just, so the first one's next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So I will call them up and just talk, so say, you know, what are you going to be using, a PC or a tablet or your phone? Just need to run you through a short presentation and then just go from there.
Yeah, I've got one tomorrow.
Brilliant.
That's going to be a Zoom.
Ask them. Brilliant.
I didn't ask them on the door about
do they know they've got...
Sorry.
No, you didn't. So you keep it as literally your main thing then is to get an appointment in the diary. So you're not going for something that we call callbacks. I know when people are going to do the 20k giveaway, you know, we've got that, and often people say, you know, when's a good time to call you back? Do you ever do callbacks from neighbourhood letters?
Can be. Sometimes that's what they want.
Yeah, they want them to call them back. Yeah. So you collect their phone numbers on the door, even if they are, let's say they're a number 3. Do you collect their phone number still, which is a go back? Because you had,
frankly, they're not a good number 3 if you haven't got their phone number. You've really got to try and get their phone number if they're a number 3, someone you built rapport with. Something I say which does work.
And how would you?
Yeah, there's a script for getting their phone number. As you say, look, I'm here quite often. Would you prefer I gave you a courtesy call next time rather than just turn up unannounced? And when you put it like that, it's very persuasive for them to give you a number, because courtesy sounds really fluffy and comfortable. Turning up announced sounds like the worst thing in the world. So they go for that. And then very often you just stand there with your pen poised and they'll give you the number. Because they realize it's stupid saying, yes, I'd like a courtesy call, and then not giving you their number. I think just do everything you can to get their phone number, because then they're in your CRM. Like this guy I told you about today, who I think there's a very good chance of getting something there for him and his wife as a partnership, because they were both very keen. If I hadn't got his number, I'd be dead in the water. I wouldn't have got round there last year. So get their number, whatever it takes.
And Hannah has just put that in the chat, actually. Hannah Grover's just put the script, Alan Maxwell's script there, which is quite nice. I'm just going to copy and paste that.
Thanks, Hannah. It is, that's on the Facebook group as well.
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant. So you're quite busy. So it's, the Facebook group is really a good place to go for lots of this stuff. So I am just going to also put a shout out for Alan and Nikki that they are very busy, and they are actually building their own businesses. So a lot of the questions that you might have to ask, you want to ask them, now is a good time to put it in the chat when they're here using their time. But you know, don't keep ringing them or private messaging or giving their numbers to foreigners or whatever it is. You know, if there are questions, put it in the Neighbourhood Letter Mastermind group, and they will be answered by Nikki, Alan, and lots of other very successful
and others. There's some really good ones who are on there now. So yeah, someone will help you.
Yeah, there's some great videos up there as well. So, you know, just be courtesy of people's time, that courteous of people's time. So you've got their numbers, you're putting them in the CRM, you're planning this. What, you know, I love the fact, does this person qualify my time? For me, that's a bit of a golden nugget this evening. Can I just ask though, you know, what pushes you through? What made you get out the door? I mean, do you have a goal that maybe you can share with us? Or do you know, when it's raining or you've had a really strong number 2, you know, what makes you?
I need to get out for a walk. Yes.
You know, what keeps you going? Because, you know, I can remember one man. I mean, I have done neighbourhood letters, and you know, but I can remember one man, and of everyone I've spoken to, he came out and had a go at me because I'd woken his baby up, and it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I thought, actually, well, I haven't, because I'm not shouting, you are. You know, you probably woken your baby up, but I can remember that. But it kind of put me off a little bit, and I got back in my car and I drove home. I did go back. I got back out that evening. But what keeps you going? What's your drive? What can we nick off you to the pinch to get our sort of belief? What Nikki? What can we take off you to get us out there?
Well, I just find it my easiest route to fill in my diary up, and I just think of the options. What options have I got to get in those appointments? And I think, well, at the moment there's not a lot else anyway. But when there are all the other options, I'm not saying that they don't work, because they do. Networking is good, but it's not my favourite thing to do. WAMs, I used to love WAMs, and that's what I mainly built the business on before I started, before I saw Alan, who inspired me to get out and do neighbour letters. So yeah, of the 3 things that we, you know, the 3 tools that we've got, neighbour letters, I find, and obviously picking up the phone, and I hate the phone, so I'd rather go out and knock on however many doors it takes to get my appointments in the diary than sit and do phone calls. Although I am going to try and keep going on the 11 o'clocks to get my phone calls in as well, because obviously then I'm doing a lot more activity, so that will help me as well. But yeah, I just prefer, and now I'm back in my groove as such, I feel more comfortable going out the door and doing that.
Brilliant. So and also you're rowing with 2 oars, you know, doing the phone calls and the letters. I'll be honest, before I joined the 11 o'clock lovelies, I hate picking up the phone. I've hated picking up the phone, and now I have no problem picking up the phone at all whatsoever. So hopefully if we do enough neighbourhood letters, I'll feel the same. And Alan, what motivates you? What's your getting you out the door? What's your goal, or what's making you do this?
All right, well, that's changed over the years. The first thing that motivated me to do it was that I'd been in the business for a long time, had qualified for absolutely nothing. And I was beginning to think, what does anyone know I'm here? What am I kidding myself? And nothing else had worked. So I thought, this is the last corral. It's here. I've got to do this. So it's a case of I've got to make this work, and I'll do as many knocks as it takes to get in a groove. So, but that's not my motivation now. My biggest motivation now is I do quite enjoy it. I love the feeling of doing something that most people wouldn't do. I love that feeling. It makes me feel good. But also I feel it's somewhat of not a duty to do it, but a lot of people are going out there and trying stuff because of this group and because of this community we've got. And I feel if I just put my feet up and not bother anymore, I'm kind of not doing what I should be doing. So I feel I should always keep my hand in and try to keep doing it, and you know, keep finding out what people on the doorstep are encountering. So I wouldn't feel authentic if I wasn't doing it anymore.
So I've heard from a few people that people are chattier on the doorsteps at the moment. Is this true?
The chatty ones are, yeah.
Yeah. The miserable ones are still miserable, but the chatty ones are chatty.
I think it kind of polarized. Yeah, the chatty ones are more chatty. The miserable ones, I'm not sure they're more miserable, but the conversation's even shorter. I mean, it is really short at times.
I don't think you want though, because it doesn't mess your time up then, does it? If it's a nice
That's
short.
why I like it.
Yeah.
I like number
Move
2s,
on.
Christine, because they're resolved. Number 2, done.
You always feel good after that, don't you?
Yeah.
So just out of interest, how many hours a week, Kim says here, do you do on neighbourhood letters? In fact, I've just mentally thought I need to block out. I'm going to have a neighbourhood letter colour in my diary to actually block time out, because I haven't been blocking time out. I block out my phone call times, but I don't block out times to do neighbourhood letters. So I need to block out time. So how much time do you put into doing neighbourhood letters, Alan?
Do you know what? I'm just finding my groove again now. And what I'm doing now is not what I want to plateau at. It's a bit trickier now because I have some care duties, which means I literally cannot be out of the house as often as I used to be. So I won't be able to do as much as I used to. I mean, 1 month, I think I did one Colosseum competition. I think I did 900 knocks. That was only in 10 days.
Wow.
That was a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. It was more. It was across the month. Come to think of it, it was across the month. But now I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's now about being consistent. But I don't really know what my groove is yet. And I agree with Christine. I need to be blocking it out. I need another colour.
Yeah.
Trouble is, they only do pink and orange and yellow and green. I haven't got enough highlighter colour. They need to invent a new colour that I haven't used yet, just for neighbour letters.
Well, you say that my 2019 diary was all different colours, which was nice, for different aspects of my work. So never was there a colour there for neighbourhood letters anyway. It was all with a mini, but but there we go. So it says, so anytime, so consistency. So again, there's another book there to think about as well, the consistency chain.
Sure.
Get into a habit. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. I mean, half an hour of neighbourhood lettering on a daily basis will move your business in the right direction for sure. So and if everybody did half an hour, oh my goodness, it would just turn people's businesses around. So we said, what response do you give when someone tells you they get their providers all online?
First thing I'd normally say to that is great. Yeah, great. So when are you free? No.
Okay.
What they're really saying is no. And say, yeah, no, we work. I don't know, because I don't hear that very often at all. But if they did, I'd just come up with something, and it depends what it was. If it was a blue-yellow person, I'd say something different than if it was a red-green person.
I would imagine it's more of a green person that would say that, actually. Nikki, what do you say if they say they get all their providers online?
I say, you wouldn't have seen us then, because we're not on the comparison site. So yeah, you wouldn't have found us on there.
That's a good line. I'll use that next time.
Yeah, copy. Yeah,
say that. Say that.
We're not. Well done, Nikki. So yeah, the whole idea of this is, and this is why I love calls like this, is because you'll hear something from one person and hear something from somebody else, and you amalgamate it all together, and it becomes your own way that you do it. You just take everybody else's ideas, so you don't have to stick to one person's format. So how long do you leave between knocking and picking them up?
Well, it's got to be 24 hours. I'd say after that, as soon as possible, I would say. Don't know about you, Nikki, but the trouble is you can go back years later, can't you? Or months later, and it still can be a decent one.
Yeah, that's big. The sooner the better, I think, but don't, there's people saying, oh, I dropped, I've got to go and post all these letters again. I only dropped them just before the last lockdown. And I'd say, well, just go and knock on those doors and just say, I couldn't get back to you sooner because of this lockdown.
Yeah.
People, they know that that's the reason. So there's no reason you can't go back to those letters, I don't think.
Totally. To be compliant, you've just got to leave it 24 hours.
So
which you've
they're
certainly
kind of
done
like,
if you did it last March. So that's fine. You're compliant.
so there's kind of like 3 rules, isn't there? You've got to leave it at least 24 hours
Yeah.
upon dropping the letter. You're not to drop before, knock before 9, and not to knock after 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
And just another bit of terminology that's come out, for especially for the people that are very new, we've been talking about CRM planners and things like that. So we now, a few years ago, Utility Warehouse hadn't given us our amazing planner that you now all have access to, which is where you can put your customers, your partners, people that you've got to follow up on. You can put dates when you're going to follow them up and call. It's brilliant. I've started using the planner. But some of us old school people, we actually used to pay to have a CRM, which is where exactly the same as your planner, if you like, but we'd have to pay for it. You know, things about £7.50 a month, £8 a month.
Yeah.
So so it's just a way of collating all your contacts in a legal place. So a CRM system has got password protected and things like that, so it's GDPR compliant, to put all your info. So really I'd start using the planner. I think the planner is amazing. I love it. I'm on the planner every single day now, and it tells me every day what I need to do. So definitely use that. It's a great free resource for you all. So I'd like to finish this evening by saying thank you so much, Alan and Nikki, for your time. We really, really do appreciate it, and you've spent your time inspiring us. What I'd like everyone that's on this call to do, though, is I would like you to go on to the Neighbourhood Letter Page Mastermind group. And if you're allowed to, and I do know there's some Scottish in here at the moment that can't drop their letters yet, but for when you can, I'd like you to pledge how many letters you're going to drop and follow up within the next 7 days. So that's a week today, so to next Wednesday. How many you want to drop and how many you're going to pick up. Or you could put in daily in the Neighbourhood Letter group, I've dropped 20 letters, and I've followed up 20 letters, and just be accountable in there. And I think once you get in there and your name is known, that's great. But you don't have to. I will do a video. I promise you, I will do a video tomorrow of me picking up my neighbourhood letters. Okay, that's my pledge to the network, because I have bottled it for over a week on these letters. But it's not because it's just to make me do it. So, you know, if you're going to deliver some letters, you know, be part of the army, and just say that if you delivered 3 is good enough. 3 is 3 more than some other people in this network. And if you're following up and you just can follow up 5, and then you got to go home or whatever it is, 5 is good. You know, it's just getting out there and being consistent. So what's a top tip as we leave from Alan and Nikki to help people like me that are rubbish, frightened, petrified of neighbourhood letters, but we want to give it a go because we know they work? What would your top tip be? Top
Nikki.
tip, Alan. Oh, Nikki, go on. Top tip.
Mate, you're not rubbish, first off. Don't tell yourself you're rubbish, because you're not. Just go out and do it, and don't focus on the results. Just doing it, and consistently try and do a little bit each day, because the more you do it, the easier it becomes getting out the door. It just becomes a habit, and you just do it.
A good habit. Brilliant. Do it every day. Alan, top tip.
Top tip. Well, every month before lockdown, we used to have a competition called the Colosseum Challenge, which it has kind of a Roman theme, and it's a bit of fun, but it really does get you galvanized to do more than you would normally do. And we're going to run it again as of April the 1st. So we've had a year without it, following 2 years with it every month. So we've done it 24 times. It's always the 1st to the 10th of the month, pretty much every month, 1st to the 10th. And it's all about how many knocks you do, how many appointments you make, sign-ups and that, but you get points for just knocking. You don't get points for posting, you get points for knocking. And what that means is you can go out and you could knock 25 or 50 doors and actually get no positive response, but you've got yourself 25 or 50 points. And it feels great because you post your points, and then the following day you can see the league table, see who, you know, how far you're up the league and who else is up there and everything, and it's fun, and I swear it will make you do far more than you would otherwise do. But funnily enough, half the people who register for it don't post or don't knock a single door. Nicky will tell you that. We run it 24 times, and virtually every time there's twice as many people that register than those that actually do any work. So A, register, B, do some work.
I've registered a few times and I've never done any of it.
I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah. Christine is a regular. She's a regular.
But and that's again what I want to stress. Neighbourhood letters are just one way of growing your business. Okay, so if you're finding it doesn't fit you, I was a big Winaminia, and I'm sure I'll be a 20k giveaway person as well, but I absolutely am going to master neighbourhood letters while it's still difficult to do those other things. I can see Jan's putting a thumbs up at me, and I really just want to say thank you to everybody that's joined the call this evening, and good luck. Join the Coliseum on the 1st of April, but you know, be a bit accountable anyway, and we'll all be your biggest cheerleaders. You know, if somebody says something, you know, just put a like up there or a well done, you know, and let's get all behind each other, and you know, be positive, encouraging, big round of applause, be the biggest cheerleaders for each other, and go and have some fun while we move through this next phase of opening up the country. It's very exciting out there at the moment, and this is great practice for talking to people. So thank you very much for your time. We can all see, well, I've got a team meeting next Wednesday. If you want to join me, you're more than welcome to. And have a great evening. See you all soon.